This is the story of a little blue car. A new little blue car named Susie, to be exact, who waited hopefully in the automobile showroom for someone to buy her. One day, someone did. He was a nice man who thought Susie would be just the car to take him to work. After being in the showroom, the traffic in the streets was a little frightening. But Susie soon got used to it and learned how to keep out of the way of the other cars. She enjoyed getting acquainted with the other cars in the parking lot while her owner was at work. Most of the big ones weren't friendly. They either ignored her completely or rebuffed her when she tried to start a conversation. At night, it felt good to be home in her own garage after a day of coping with the freeway traffic. She could relax and let her tires cool off. As the years passed, Susie's mileage rolled up. She began to show signs of wear. Her color faded, and she developed carburetor trouble. She just didn't have the same energy she used to have. One day, she stalled in front of a streetcar. The streetcar was annoyed and complained. Finally, Susie got started again and hobbled around the corner, her motor chugging. Susie's owner took her to a mechanic who said that Susie was in bad shape and needed a complete overhaul. "No," said the owner, "I need a new car." Before she quite knew what had happened, Susie found herself in a used car lot. A noisy voice on a loudspeaker told people what wonderful bargains were in the lot. One day, a man bought the little car. Susie's new owner did not take good care of her. She was left out in the cold. She soon had bent fenders and flat tires, and how the traffic tickets piled up. One dark night, someone stole her, and there she was under a bridge, hiding from the police. Things went from bad to worse. The man who had stolen Susie was going too fast. He drove right through a guardrail, and Susie almost got hit by a train. Still speeding, she raced up a wet street. A stop signal was flashing. Susie jammed on her brakes. It did no good. On the flooded street, she skidded and crashed into the bumper of a streetcar. It was the end. She was a battered old wreck, and old wrecks belong in the junkyard. There she sat, midst all kinds of discarded things. The rain turned to snow, the snow piled up, and winter settled in for a long stay. But even winter does not last forever. After a very long time, spring did arrive. The weather warmed up, the birds came back. A boy came who wanted to know how much this old blue heap cost. He didn't have much money, but the junk dealer let him buy the little car anyway. The boy and his friends took off the little car's fenders, put on new chrome wheels, hopped her up, and gave her a new coat of paint. Susie's engine was soon running again. She was rescued. Life was beginning all over, and she felt 50,000 miles younger.
Once there was a little house on a little hill out in the country. She was happy. She liked the peace and quiet, the warm sun on her roof, the soft summer breeze. Some people came to live in the little house. After a while, there were other additions, and a few panes which had to be mended. At night, the little house sometimes felt lonely, and wondered what it would be like to have other houses to talk to. She looked at the lights of the city, unaware that they were coming closer and closer. A city is a living thing that keeps on growing. Before long, the little house had neighbours on either side of her, the Uppingtons and the Downingtons. They really didn't seem friendly, but at night there were parties and music and dancing. "Why, I'm right in the midst of the social world," thought the little house. One night, flames started coming out of a window of the Uppington house. She began to call for help. "The alarm! Sound the alarm!" said the Downington house as she caught fire too. Soon firemen were shooting streams of water on both houses, but it was all in vain. By morning both elegant homes had burned to the ground, and the little house was left alone again. "They weren't very nice. Still, what a pity," she said. The years went faster now. Progress and noise had caught up with the city. There were tall buildings on either side of the little house, and clotheslines and garbage cans grew so noisy and dirty that the people living in the little house decided to move. "If only I could go with them," she said. Wrecking crews came and tore down the buildings on either side of the little house. Just as she was enjoying the peace and quiet, the ground began to shake. A huge steam shovel was taking bites out of the ground on both sides of the little house. She was very frightened and shut her eyes so she wouldn't have to look down into the deep pits on either side of her. Steel girders came next, then great tall skyscrapers grew up beside the little house. She was lost in a dark canyon between them. Would she ever see the sun again? Horns honked, traffic lights flashed, and neon signs glared into her eyes. It began to rain. Then a wrecking crew came. The little house shut her eyes. Let them get it over with. The sooner the better. For a house, she had had a full life. She felt herself being pried off her foundations. It would not be long now, with her eyes still shut. She did not realize that she was not being torn down. She was being moved. And right through traffic at that, with all the trucks, streetcars and automobiles stopped to give her room to get by. The little house opened her eyes, blinking in the bright sunlight around her. It wasn't the end after all. It was another beginning. It took time and a lot of fixing up before the little house felt like herself again. After that, some people came to live there. People who wanted a little house, on a hill, way out in the country. Here's Lambert, all grown up. Everybody calls him the Sheepish Lion. As you can see, he isn't a sheep at all. He just has a sheepish grin. Our story begins quite a while ago, when Lambert was small. At night time, in the spring, a certain flock of sheep had a visit from Mr. Stork. After a somewhat bumpy landing on the meadow, Mr. Stork unwrapped his blanket. It was full of baby sheep. "Pick out the ewe that you like best," he told each of them, "and she will be your mother." Mr. Stork shook the last lamb out of his blanket. Only it was Lambert. "Oh dear me, that's not a lamb. There must be some mistake," he said, checking his notebook. Sure enough, Mrs. Lion of South Africa had ordered a lion cub. Mr. Stork was very upset. Lambert would have to be returned, no doubt about it. Lambert had found a mama sheep who needed a little one and didn't mind his being a lion cub. She was not about to give him back. She was so angry at the very idea that Mr. Stork left in a hurry. "Keep him then," he said. "After all, I'm only a delivery service." So Lambert stayed with the sheep. The other lambs made fun of him. He didn't have wool, he couldn't say baa, and when he tried to butt heads, well, he ended up with a black eye. He went and looked at himself in the pond, and decided he was a coward. Yellow, through and through. Time, however, changes things. When fall came around, all the little lambs were full-grown sheep, and Lambert was the biggest sheep. You, lamb, mutton? Well, isn't he huge? His mamma was so proud. Lambert's former playmates had not stopped teasing him, though. He was still the butt of all their jokes. For even if he was a lion, he had a sheepish grin. One night the sheep were fast asleep. Lambert awoke with fright, for he had heard an awful sound and seen an awful sight. A hungry wolf had found the flock. Lambert was petrified. He crawled behind his mother's back and did his best to hide. The wolf did not notice Lambert. He began chasing Lambert's mother instead. "Lambert! Help! Lambert!" she called. Well, something snapped inside of him. He heard his mother crying, and in an instant, suddenly, he was a raging lion. He saw the wolf out on a ledge. He let out one great roar. Lambert charged. The ledge shook. The wolf was seen no more. At last, the meadow's quiet again. Lambert, there's no denying, is now a wild and woolly sheep, instead of a sheepish, laughing, weepish, little bo-peepish lion. Don't worry about the hungry wolf. He has a place to cling, and he won't starve, because that bush has berries. Every spring